The film begins with Asakura Haruto, a young man with an unwavering passion for photography. Filled with determination, he bravely sets off to Tokyo, the city of dreams, in pursuit of his aspirations. After a year of residing in Tokyo, Haruto finds employment at a photo studio. However, the things he had to do for his job became really heavy and made him feel overwhelmed. So, he decided to quit his job and not work there anymore. But then he didn't have enough money, so he had to do different small jobs to get by. Haruto got so caught up in all the things happening to him that he forgot about his big dream of becoming a photographer. It just disappeared from his mind without him even realizing it. Suddenly, fate takes an unexpected turn when Haruto stumbles upon a complimentary voucher for a salon. Intrigued, he decides to redeem it and finds himself in the presence of Ariake Misaki, a vibrant hairdresser who will transform his appearance. Upon completing the haircut, Misaki anxiously queries Haruto about his satisfaction, her concern evident in her voice. To his delight, Haruto is genuinely pleased with his new hairstyle, and this joyous response brings a radiant smile to her face. It is worth mentioning that Haruto is silently captivated by her cheerful demeanor. From that time on, Haruto started going to Misaki's salon regularly because he liked how she made him look cool. But one day, Misaki got curious about what Haruto did for a living and asked him directly. However, Haruto got scared and didn't want to disappoint Misaki, so he made up a story and said he was a photographer. When Misaki heard that, she got really excited because she loved photography. Now, Haruto was stuck in his lie and felt like he had to keep pretending. To make things more complicated, Misaki said she wanted to learn how to take pictures of cherry blossoms, and Haruto decided to ask her out on a date. They were having a fun conversation when Misaki accidentally cut Haruto's ear with her scissors, and he fainted. Consumed by remorse, Misaki sincerely apologized for the accident and took full responsibility for Haruto's medical expenses at the hospital. To make amends, she offered to do anything for him, driven by her regret. Seizing this moment, Haruto saw an opportunity and mustered the courage to ask Misaki to be his girlfriend. Taken aback by his unexpected request, she experienced a mix of surprise and confusion. However, compelled by her earlier promise, she eventually consented to his proposal. Filled with joy, Haruto then suggested they embark on a date where they could revel in the enchanting splendor of cherry blossoms together. Once home, Misaki couldn't contain her happiness and eagerly shared the news of her newfound relationship with her older brother, Takashi. Unfortunately, Takashi was skeptical and disapproved of her involvement with Haruto. He perceived Haruto as someone who might take advantage of his younger sister. Concerned for Misaki's well-being, Takashi expressed his fear of her being hurt by men who would only bring her pain. However, Ayano, Takashi's girlfriend, overheard Misaki's story and intervened, offering reassurance and support for Misaki's relationship with Haruto, attempting to calm her lover's apprehensions. A few days later, Haruto and Misaki ventured to a park, eager to immerse themselves in the breathtaking spectacle of cherry blossoms. It was during this serene moment that Haruto chose to disclose a painful truth. He confessed that he had been lying about his occupation as a photographer, admitting that he had abandoned his dreams in the face of the formidable challenges posed by the photography industry. Misaki, upon hearing this revelation, felt a surge of annoyance as Haruto had given up on his own aspirations. She demanded that he pursue his dreams wholeheartedly, refusing to let him settle for less. Hearing her words struck a chord within Haruto, reigniting his dormant passion. Determined to become the hardworking man that Misaki admired, he resolved to once again strive towards making his dreams a reality. Then, Haruto demonstrated his unwavering commitment to his photography aspirations, proving his determination to Misaki a month later. He reached out to her, sharing the news of his employment at a prestigious photo studio and proudly revealing his first hard-earned salary. Filled with joy, Haruto invited Misaki to a special dinner to celebrate his accomplishments. Misaki, overwhelmed with happiness for his success, eagerly accepted his invitation. As evening fell, Haruto and Misaki entered an elegant restaurant, his intention being to provide Misaki with the finest experience. To express his gratitude for reigniting his passion and motivating him to pursue his dreams, Haruto presented Misaki with a gift, and it was salon equipment that would aid her in styling the hair of her salon clients. It turned out that gesture served as a symbol of appreciation for the role Misaki played in his journey towards becoming a photographer. Moreover, Haruto shared the exciting news of being accepted into a prestigious photo studio owned by the renowned photographer Sawaya Kyosuke. Notably, Sawaya Kyosuke also served as Haruto's mentor in the realm of photography. Upon hearing Haruto's accomplishments, Misaki felt an overwhelming sense of happiness and pride, rejoicing in the milestones he had achieved. After their dinner, Haruto walked with Misaki to the train station. He gathered all his courage and told her once again that he really liked her. Hearing that, Misaki seemed unsure and didn't give an answer right away. She asked for some time to think about it, but when Haruto saw Misaki's face turn a little pink when he told her he loved her, he couldn't hold back his emotions any longer. He ran after her as she got on the train. In that special moment on the platform, she listened to Haruto's loving words and her heart felt the same way too. She accepted his love. Sometime later, the two of them started spending more and more time together, becoming inseparable. But fate had other plans when Misaki fell ill with a fever, forcing her to cancel their planned date. Haruto, upon hearing the news, immediately left the photo studio and hurried home to visit his sick girlfriend. As they arrived at Misaki's house, they were met not by Misaki, but by her disapproving brother, Takashi. At that time, Ayano, who was also present, tried to calm Takashi down, but her suspicious gaze remained fixed on Haruto throughout his visit. Meanwhile, Misaki, feeling self-conscious about her pale and makeup-free appearance, hid behind a mask, hesitant to face Haruto. In an effort to lift her spirits, he reassured her that she was the most beautiful woman he had ever met, even without makeup. Touched by his heartfelt words, Misaki decided to trust him and removed her mask. It was the first time anyone had ever called her beautiful. Before bidding farewell and heading home, Haruto made a promise to Misaki that he will ask her to go on a date to see the upcoming fireworks festival once she had recovered. Hearing this, her face lit up with joy, her eagerness to get well intensifying. Sadly, as night fell, her fever returned with a vengeance, causing her immense pain and leading her to cry out for her older brother's help. The following day, Takashi accompanied Misaki to the hospital for further examination. After the doctor finished assessing her condition, they revealed a distressing possibility, which was a rare genetic disease. It turned out Misaki had been experiencing early symptoms, such as fatigue and premature graying of her hair. To confirm the diagnosis, the doctor needed to conduct a blood test. In the meantime, they provided Misaki with medication to alleviate her fever and pain, allowing her to resume her daily routine. A few days later, feeling somewhat better, Misaki eagerly prepared to go to the fireworks display with Haruto. However, Takashi, still deeply concerned about her health, forbade her from attending. Ignoring her brother's pleas, Misaki defiantly insisted on going to the event regardless. Arriving at the fireworks festival, Haruto and Misaki were met with disappointment as the event was unexpectedly cancelled due to unfavorable weather conditions. Witnessing Misaki's sadness, Haruto took it upon himself to purchase fireworks and, together, they lit them up. Then, under the beautiful shining lights, Haruto told Misaki that he really wanted to marry her. He promised that he would wait until she was ready. Hearing that, Misaki felt really happy, but at the same time, she was also a little sad. She had a rare illness that made her life uncertain and not very long. But in that moment, she hid her feelings and didn't show them to Haruto. She didn't want him to worry about her. On a different day, the results of Misaki's blood test finally arrived, bringing devastating news. The doctor explained that she had a rare illness that caused her to age at an accelerated rate. Unfortunately, no cure had been discovered for this cruel disease. Confronted with this grim reality, Misaki made the difficult decision to quit her job. She felt a sense of inferiority, believing that her illness would rob her of her beauty. In a surprising turn of events, she showed up unannounced at Haruto's apartment, inviting him to go out with her. At that time, Haruto, taken aback by Misaki's unusual behavior, sensed that something was amiss and asked if she was facing any problems. However, she chose not to disclose her illness, instead assuring Haruto that everything was fine. Deep down, all she wanted was to cherish the remaining time she had with him while appearing healthy, shielding him from the agony she endured due to her condition. That afternoon, they strolled together in a park adorned with cherry blossoms, where Misaki captured photos of Haruto amidst the scenic beauty. Although he couldn't shake the feeling that Misaki was acting strangely, he decided to let her enjoy herself. They immersed themselves in each other's company, savoring every moment until the evening drew near. At daybreak, before Haruto awoke, Misaki quietly slipped away, leaving him behind. From that day forward, he couldn't reach her, filling him with deep worry for Misaki's well-being. Determined to find her, Haruto visited the salon where Misaki worked, only to discover that she had relocated to another city to open her own salon. He then went to her house, but Takashi, who seemed less than pleased by his presence, offered no helpful information. With no leads, Haruto decided to return home, his heart heavy with concern. The following day, Haruto returned to Misaki's house, leaving an envelope containing a photograph she had taken for Takashi. Unbeknownst to him, Misaki watched him from her room on the top floor. Shortly after, Takashi handed her the envelope, along with some advice, urging her to confront her feelings and clarify her relationship with Haruto. The next morning, while Haruto was at work, he received an unexpected call from Misaki. His heart swelled with joy, but his elation quickly turned to anger and disappointment when Misaki revealed that she was out of town and in a relationship with her ex-boyfriend. Hearing the news shattered Haruto, leaving him unable to concentrate on his job, much to the annoyance of his colleagues. Seeking solace, he approached Kyosuke, his boss, offering an apology and taking responsibility for his actions. In response, Kyosuke reminded him that he was capable of producing excellent work like his peers if he applied himself diligently. A few days later, Haruto went back to see his friend Kyosuke, excited to show him his latest creations. But to his surprise, Kyosuke didn't like them and felt disappointed. At that moment, Haruto's coworker Makoto saw how sad he was and wanted to cheer him up, so they decided to go on a camping trip together. The campsite was peaceful and quiet, and Makoto gave Haruto some advice. Makoto said that even when your heart feels broken, it doesn't mean everything is over. As an artist, sometimes sad things can inspire you to make really amazing and meaningful artwork. She encouraged him to not give up and told him to delete Misaki's phone number so he could try to move on and forget about her. There, Haruto felt encouraged by her words and decided to keep going and focus on his art. Meanwhile, Misaki pursued expensive alternative treatments for her condition, causing Ayano to voice her concerns to Takashi. Ayano questioned the efficacy of such treatments as their success rates were unproven. However, Takashi took offense at Ayano's words, asserting that she had no right to interfere in his affairs since they were not yet married. A week later, Takashi accompanied Misaki for another session of alternative medicine, only to discover that the practice had been shut down. They were informed by a local resident that the doctor running the operation was a fraud who had been apprehended by the police. The revelation left Misaki devastated, dampening her spirits and diminishing her motivation to recover. In this moment, Takashi stepped up to support her, promising to explore other avenues for her treatment, as she was the only family he had left. As each day passed, Misaki's frailty grew, her body betraying her. Weaker and weaker she became, until one day, she collapsed, a victim of her own deteriorating health. The panic-stricken scene unfolded as Misaki was swiftly whisked away to the hospital, desperate for the treatment she so desperately needed. Amidst this, Ayano stood steadfast by Misaki's side, tending to her with unwavering devotion. Her love for Misaki ran deep, akin to the bond of sisters. She tirelessly cared for Misaki, offering solace and comfort in the face of such hardship. During one of their deep talks, Misaki, feeling tired and worried, asked Ayano about her upcoming wedding with Takashi. Ayano sadly revealed that they had to delay their plans. At that moment, Misaki started feeling guilty, thinking that her own illness might be the reason for the delay. However, Ayano tried to make Misaki feel better, but she still blamed herself. As nighttime came and the hospital grew dark, Misaki's condition suddenly got worse. She became very weak and had to stay inside her hospital room. She couldn't go anywhere else. When Misaki looked at herself in a small mirror, she saw a heartbreaking sight. Her face, which used to be young and vibrant, now showed the effects of her illness. She looked older. Realizing how her appearance was changing made her even sadder and made her spirit feel weak and sad. Meanwhile, Takashi racked his brain, desperate to find a way to settle his younger sister's mounting hospital bills. In a moment of contemplation, Ayano entered the room, clutching a wad of money that she had previously saved for her own wedding. She tenderly handed it to Takashi, a selfless act of generosity. At first, he refused her offering, but Ayano persisted, her determination unwavering. In her heart, she had already embraced Misaki as her own sister, and thus she insisted on aiding Takashi. Finally, he relented, accepting the much-needed help from her. Several days later, Misaki received the long-awaited news that she could finally leave the hospital. As she stepped outside, her eyes met Ayano, who had come to fetch her. During their journey back home, Misaki expressed her yearning to see Haruto, a longing that tugged at her heart. In response to Misaki's request, Ayano took her near the place where Haruto worked as a photographer. But Misaki was too weak to see him, and she felt really sad because she missed him a lot. Her tiredness showed on her face, making her look even more tired. As the evening came, Takashi and Ayano started cooking a special dinner to welcome Misaki back home. But something unexpected happened. Misaki felt really jealous and got angry at Ayano, kicking her away. At that time, Ayano looked beautiful, which made Misaki feel even more insecure and took away some of the happiness from their reunion. As time went by, Misaki's health got worse and it made Takashi really sad. When winter came, he wanted to bring some happiness to his sick sister. He dressed up as Santa Claus to make their lives a little magical. There, he asked Misaki to make a list of things she wanted, and he promised to make her wishes come true. He also gave her a pretty pink hat as a symbol of his love on Christmas Eve. The next day, while cleaning Misaki's room, Takashi found a small paper with her secret wish written on it. It said that she really wanted to meet Haruto, the person she loved. Knowing that, Takashi felt moved by his sister's desire, so he decided to find Haruto himself. When Takashi met Haruto, he apologized and told him that Misaki had made up her illness to protect him from the sadness of her condition. The illness had made her look older than she really was. In this heartfelt meeting, he asked Haruto to meet Misaki because she really wanted to feel the warmth and love that only he could give her. After a long day at work, Haruto found himself standing outside Misaki's house, eager to see her. To his dismay, she refused to meet him, plagued by shame and self-consciousness about her altered appearance. But Haruto's love for her was unwavering, and he resolved to stand by her side, even if it meant staying outside her room, offering words of encouragement and pledging his unwavering care. That night, in a moment of vulnerability, Misaki confided in Takashi, revealing her deep-rooted fear of her illness. However, the presence of Haruto in her life brought a ray of joy amidst the darkness that consumed her. In the days that came after, Haruto went to Misaki's house and stood outside her closed door. He would tell her stories about the fun times they had together. Even though she didn't open the door, these stories made her feel better. His stories reminded her of the dreams they had, dreams they both wanted to make come true when Misaki got better. Meanwhile, Haruto's passion for photography burned brighter than ever. He pushed himself to capture breathtaking moments and create masterful works of art. His dedication soared to new heights when he took a daring leap and organized a grand photo exhibition with the help of his friend. Deep in his heart, he knew that Misaki was the driving force behind his dream of becoming a renowned photographer. At first, Misaki talked to Takashi about her worries of going to the exhibition. She was scared to see Haruto when she wasn't feeling well. But Takashi reminded her that Haruto really cared about her and liked her a lot. Little by little, Misaki's worries started to disappear and she decided to go to the exhibition. Finally, the day of the exhibition came, and Misaki went there by herself wearing the pink hat given by Takashi. As she walked through the gallery, she saw amazing pictures that told the story of their time together. Seeing those pictures made Misaki feel really happy and reminded her of the love and memories they had made together. Meanwhile, Haruto assumed that Misaki wouldn't show up at his exhibition. Disheartened, he hurried to her house, where Takashi informed him that his younger sister had indeed gone to the exhibition. Filled with renewed hope, Haruto raced back to the exhibition venue. However, he found himself ensnared in a web of traffic, impeding his progress. Determined not to be thwarted, Haruto decided to continue on foot. Yet, despite his efforts, he arrived at the exhibition only to discover that Misaki had already returned home. On the other hand, as Misaki was going home, she got really tired and fell down on the road. Luckily, Haruto was passing by and quickly came to help her. Seeing him made Misaki really happy. But sadly, Haruto didn't recognize her as Misaki, so she could only say thank you before he left, not knowing who she really was. Days went by, and Misaki's health got even worse. Sadly, she passed away too soon. When Haruto heard the heartbreaking news, he immediately went to her house. He wanted to go into her room and remember the good times they had together. While looking through Misaki's things, Haruto saw a pink hat that reminded him of her. Suddenly, he realized that the old woman he helped before was actually Misaki. He felt really sorry for not recognizing her that day, and he felt really foolish for it. Filled with guilt and feeling like he wanted to end his own life, Haruto was really sad and hopeless. But something unexpected happened. Ayano came to him and gave him a letter that they found recently. It was a letter from Misaki, the person he had lost. When Haruto read the letter, he found a very special message inside. Misaki wrote in the letter that she was so grateful to have met Haruto because he became her guiding light and the reason she kept going. She also told him how happy she was that he became a photographer, his dream come true. She encouraged him to keep taking amazing pictures and capturing the beauty of the world with his camera. In the end of the film, Haruto felt inspired again and went back to his photography. Kyosuke, someone he looked up to, praised his skills and said he had a special talent for capturing the essence of others in his photos. Haruto felt really happy to hear that and promised to make Misaki proud. He decided to keep taking pictures and preserve the beauty of the world, just like she wanted. The film ends. The moral lesson of this film is never pretend to be a photographer if you're actually a hair model, or you might lose the love of your life and end up mistaking her for an old woman.